morning, good evening, and good night. Back, like I said I was, if you guys follow me on my webpage, Kyusho.gen, I left a post there. And I did leave a video explaining I would be taking 2 days that I normally stream off. Went cross country basically for 2 days. Left Wednesday, came back Friday midnight. Drove cross country for my brother-in-law, and we picked him up. Man, that was one hell of a drive. We drove all the way into Missouri, and it was a long, long drive. I tell you, you gotta be prepared for those things. And I thought I was, and then I realized I wasn't. But we were able to make it there, pick him up, come back, and I have a story to tell you guys. I mean, when I went out there, it was just like, how do I describe it? So the drive out, I'll start from the beginning. So, the beginning being where I live in California. So we drove out there. We went over the Colorado River, which is in between Arizona and California. Drove over that, and once we got into Arizona, a bunch of spots had either a small amount of just like trees and bush, and then the second you get towards the cities of Kingman and Flagstaff, just lush trees. I mean, beautiful trees. In the parts of Arizona I've been in, desert, just sheer desert wasteland. And I'm like what you see out of like Red Dead Redemption kind of stuff. But then you get into these one little nooks and crannies of the parts of the state, and it's just like lush greenery. I'm like, we're still in Arizona? What's going on here? And so we drove all the way through Arizona. We didn't stop anywhere to see anything. It was just busting a mission to go get my brother-in-law. So we go. We're just driving on through Kingman, Flagstaff, Ash Fork, and we drove through spots that are known for tourist attractions, like the Petrified Woods and stuff. And we're like, oh, I want to see that, but you have to get off on the exit and swing up the road. I'm like, nah, just keep going. So we just kept going and going, and next thing you know, we see a whole bunch of tourist attractions for Native American pottery, Native American rugs, and home decor and stuff. I'm like, that sounds awesome. Sounds like it would be beautiful to see. But we just didn't stop. But the scenery alone was breathtaking to see. It just like how it was, how like barren wasteland, lush green, then just a mountainous terrain between Arizona and New Mexico. I mean, the best way I can describe it is like in that scene in the movie Cars, where you see those mountains and how they look like they're just stuck out like that and just layered like that. It's just like that. It's just beautiful, beautiful scenery. You can see the layers of rock, and I can't recall. I think it was in New Mexico. I could be wrong. Could be actually back more towards Arizona, but they had these bright red, almost near purple rocks, just from the sediments and stones and mineral contents in that. And it's just like, I mean, red and almost purple. Then there was like bright oranges, and some were just like black as night rocks in there. And beautiful, beautiful trip. We kept driving and going and going. And New Mexico was like that for a good, I want to say, 3/4 maybe three, maybe half, about that. It's like that. Then it just goes flat as you get towards Texas. And when we got towards Texas, we got towards the boxed off top of Texas. But instead of going through the entire top of it, we cut through the corner like that. And I tell you, when we went through Texas, not much to look at Texas. And then we went through like a little sliver of Oklahoma. And again, not much to look at, it's kind of barren in those little spots. But I imagine when you get in there, into the main parts of the state, it's probably beautiful and amazing to look at. And one thing we did see a lot was the slaughterhouses off to the sides. And no matter how much I tried to close off the air unit in my car, it was atrocious. The smell, the closest, and I mean the closest I can get to describing this smell is wadded up tissue paper that you urinated on, left in a toilet that's just been marinating in different types of urines and feces. It's just, I can't describe it. It's just atrocious smells, and you have to drive through there for the shortest route to get there. And yeah, it was just an atrocious thing to smell, and the way it looked. I mean, I've seen the videos. I've seen the videos online and everything. All these cows are in terrible conditions. They're just piled on top of each other and everything. And me being who I am, I'm like, it's just a commercial. It's not true. It's not real. It can't be. I mean, like, no one's that cruel. I saw it. I mean, what I saw was like these large gated off areas and cattle. I mean, just tons of cattle. Standing in like these, what went from like dirt, dried off, no moisture, to mud pits from their own urine and defecation, just full, and like these little. If I got any closer, I would say it was probably 100 foot by 100 foot squares, just squared off, full of cattle. I mean, like, packed. You couldn't. They were just like crammed in on top of each other. Like I got a couple remotes. I'll try and describe. So imagine my palm is like 20 by 20. What room you have there is some room like that, and that'd be full of cows like that. And you got some cows over here, just right on top of each other like that. And you don't have to improvise. You have more cattle right here, just like crammed on top of each other. Next thing you know, that 20 by 20 grid of box is just crammed. Like, you could probably, there's it's like those scenes you see in certain action movies where they run across the backs of the cattle because they're crammed together. They're side by side, and it's like a perfect road across the backs. It was like that. It was just so sad to see, like extremely sad to, like, no, you have all of this dirt, all of this out here. You're gonna cram them here. You have all this empty. I mean, the drive we had, it was just astounding to like see all this vast open space, and people are like, oh, there's no room, dude. Take a drive. We took the I-40 is what it's called, the route we took the I-40 all the way out to Missouri, and you look around, you're like, I can't believe it's so expensive now. The cost of living. It's like, look at this. Look at all this emptiness. I did some math. And I did, and I'm serious, you guys can do this on your own time. You can get, on the internet, the exact populace number. You can get the information of, you can do, now the way I did it was the average shoulder width of a person. I got a tape measure right here. I'll even measure it for you. The average shoulder width for an adult. So you go like that, and take your tape measure, and line it up across your chest like that. And you take this in and you go all the way out here. I'm probably giving myself a little extra. That's fine. Because there are men out there that are bigger than me. My average shoulder width is 2.5. 2 foot 5 inches. And in centimeters, I don't know how big that is. This thing doesn't do centimeters. But yeah, I'm 2.5 or 2.5, 2 foot 5 inches, and that's my average shoulder span. Just about comfortably, I should say. There's going to be like an inch. How much is the gas where we are? Well, where I live, it's about 4.11, but as how tall are you and your weight? Well, I am 5'9", 260. I'm a big boy. Yeah. Average weight is, I believe, 180, 160 for my height. Yeah. So I did some math, and I found out if you cut out a good chunk, and I took Wisconsin because it was the most squared off grid I can think of. You could, if you put all humans everywhere and you put them into that little chunk of Wisconsin, and you could, all the human populace would fill up about 1/3 Wisconsin if you just crammed them on top of each other right there. And I found that interesting. It's just like we have all this empty space out here, all of it empty, 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 and some of it doesn't even have trees. Some of it doesn't have like major like out here where I live. You have things like Joshua trees. Now, if you don't know, Joshua trees are a protected species of tree. They only grow in one spot. You could like pull these things up and you can try and take them to Arizona. They won't live. They are a very strict type of tree. So, and because they are a protected tree, yeah, Wisconsin. Yeah, you can do the math. I got the populace numbers off of Google. I looked up the population. It's about 6. It could be either 5.7 billion or 6.7 billion. It might have been more, but I had that number, and I worked with that, and about 1/3. Yeah. What I found interesting is out here where I live, the Joshua trees, because they're a protected tree, you can't tear them out. You can't dig them up. If one even just naturally plants itself, naturally, like through the wind or a bird dropping the seeds and it grows, it's now there. It's permanent. You can't rip that out. It's a state protected tree. And so if you go out to areas like that have state protected trees, you can't remove them, like the redwoods. Redwoods are, I believe, a state protected tree. You can't cut those down because they're so rare and so hard to like grow in certain areas. And I found areas out there that were just lush, green, open, vast spaces. Like, I'm like, I can't believe we pay so much for where we live. It's like, I'd rather go out here, buy a plot of land, start from scratch. I mean, I used to work in Home Depot where I live. Used to. We left because we left working. Me, family, and friends. We left working when COVID picked up, but yeah, we left early in the year. But I worked there for a good time to learn from the tradesmen that do construction, masonry, concrete, plumbing, electrical. I learned a lot from those guys, even gentlemen that do window framing. What it takes to build a good functioning home. My uncle, he did masonry for years and building, and it's don't get me wrong, it's hard work, but it's not as complex as you think it is. Like what he has what they call a mobile home unit, and what they do is they basically cram all the exterior stuff on the outside to a corner, and they just have it raised up. Now, I've seen multiple home designs where there's like foundations and stuff where they have the pipes in the foundation. So you'll have, let me grab something like this. I'm just going to use my Vita as a platform. So you'll have a foundation like this, perfectly flat and everything. You'll have your external stuff like your electrical, your gas, your water meters, all right here on the side of the building. But then they'll run the pipes through the bottom. Well, that's nice and all for mobile homes, but if you're working with a solid concrete foundation, you have to plan that out ahead. You have to put your pipes where you believe your bathroom is going to be and all that. And it's not that hard. You dig like you dig your foundation, and I believe your foundation needs to be, I could be wrong, about a foot. It needs to be about a foot or two thick. And then you dig a little bit farther for your pipes, because if you put your pipes in the foundation and say like your pipe ends up cracking, splitting, gets infested with roots, or it's just severely damaged over time, you're going to have to go into your foundation and tear those out. But if you go a little lower than the foundation and put your foundation right there on top of the pipe, you can go down to the pipe, go straight in, and it'll be right there, cut off where your elbow goes, and then there's your pipe going straight into your toilet for sewers or whatever. And that's what I found interesting. It's just, if you just think about it for a bit, it's not a whole lot. I mean, I've seen these guys build things from scratch. My uncle built his shed, and I mean, this is home grade shed. Like, you got your I-beams, you got your key beams going straight across, you got your foundation beams and everything. I remember, and the reason when I say home grade is we lifted the thing up on top of jacks and moved it. If you did that with a metal shed, a plastic shed, anything, you would get this whole bow to it, and it would rock and everything, and it could collapse in on itself. I was like, I can't believe that he built that. He just, with what he knows, he didn't do like home building. He was a mason for all of his life, but that work put him around people who did do that work, and he learned from sight and just like listening. So I saw all that open space, so I'm like, took all the knowledge that I kind of know of for my age. I'm like, I could build myself a home out here. I could either go old school log cabin, Lincoln log style, I could do survival style, or I could go permanent residence. I'm like, I could do that right here because I have that knowledge now. And I'm like, I can't believe the prices we pay out here for that stuff. And it's just beautiful, beautiful scenery. I wish I took more pictures of it. Um, but my phone car charging is trash unless you have like one or two alternators in the car. But one thing I did learn though is um, we have a lot of family and friends that are out of state of California, and they live like New Mexico or in another country of Mexico. They live up in Washington and everything. They all tell us one thing: if you have different license plates not from that state, you're being watched the entire time. And fortunately, it was true. I had on my phone my Google Maps, and Google Maps is pretty accurate when you're using the GPS to track where you are and your speed. Well, we pull into Kansas City, or Kansas State, not city. We went through Kansas City to get into Missouri, and we get into Kansas State, and the speed limit from the past states we were in was extremely slow. Like, I'm talking super slow. It was like designated for speed traps or something, because you would go from 65 to 30, then you would go from 30 to 45, 45, and only on like the highway did it touch 70. But you come off that highway onto another part of the I-40, and it's like 30. I'm like, Jesus! It's like I'm hitting my brakes every couple of miles, just like double checking my speed and everything. It was it was nuts. I'm like, I've heard of people going to Virginia and the speed traps in Virginia. There's a road known as the 1 mile road, or the mile piece of highway, and the speed traps are just like 40, 60, 50, 40, 50, 60, 40. It just fluctuates. Like someone hit a roulette wheel and you don't know what number's next, and they catch it like that. Well, I was raised and taught that if you are following traffic and you are keeping up with the car in front of you, and I mean keeping up, like you got a good two and a half car space between you two, you're safe, because that gives the guy behind you some room and the guy behind him, and you're keeping with traffic. Because the second you start to slow down and people have to go around you, you are now a problem, because you could be the cause of an accident. And so if that's the case, you need to get off the road. If you're speeding up to the point where you're dodging every single car, you're having to pull into the next lane and go around, next lane, go around, like every car, then you are a problem. Because you could just pull in, go into a head-on collision, or you could cut off the guy that just started picking up, and next thing you know, he clips your bumper and sandbags you. And that was just insane. I'm following, keeping with traffic, and my GPS is telling me you are going 75 miles an hour on a 65. I'll admit that is speeding, but that's as fast as all the traffic's going. I'm keeping with the guy in front of me at pace. The guy behind me is keeping with me at pace, and the guy behind him, the guy in front of the guy in front of me. Cop goes right by. I see this guy slam on his brakes. I mean, I saw this whole car tilt forward from how hard he hit his brakes, swung around, goes around the two cars, and gets right behind me. I'm like, he's gonna pull me over instantly. I knew it. He was gonna pull me over. He sat there for 3 minutes. 3 minutes. There was plenty of room to pull me over any other time. He sat there for a good 3 minutes, pulled all my information up on his computer, pulls me over, and he's like, I clocked you at 82. Just a side note, do you know what 82 sounds like in a Toyota RAV4? That's a 2.6 cylinder, 2.6 or 2.8 liter engine. If you were doing 80 miles in that car, that thing's at 4,000, 5,000 RPMs trying to go. That's a little 4-cylinder. So it sounds like you were trying to drag race every car in that street. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, there's no way he clocked me at 82. I kept with traffic, and there should have been no problem at all. No, he writes me a ticket, and here's the thing: they'll write you a ticket if you're out of state, because they know if you want to solve and fight that ticket, even with all the proof you got right there, you'd have to stay in that state and go to their county to fight it. And you can't just fight it right there. And so he wasn't going to have any of my BS. I wasn't going to have any of his BS. We left. We kept. He waved me on after getting my ID and information, and he didn't say anything. We have met 6 people. 6. And I could count them. The cop, the guy at the gas station, McDonald's crew, 2 of them. We talked to the manager and the lady that helped us with our order. An Arby's guy, because we left McDonald's. And then a trucker who was getting gas at the same gas station we were. So, everyone went to the... I bet you can't guess which one it was that was the only nice person we met. It was the Arby's guy. The Arby's guy was the only nice person in Kansas. Now, I went with my mother and my sister because I needed a backup driver so when it was time to pull over, they could drive, I could rest, and my sister wanted to go to pick up her husband. When we pulled over at the gas station, put that on mute, the trucker sees my mom, and she's putting gas in the car. I'm in the back resting, and he tells her, "You need to move your car up, or I'm gonna hit it." And he's doing this all with a smile, and he can see her, the pumps in the car. Now, law states you do not have your phone, you do not have a cigarette, you don't even have the car running when you are pumping the car. Now, a lot of ingenuity and safety features have been brought in to make sure it's not that dangerous, but you still follow these rules because it's right there on the pump. And the guys inside have an emergency kill the pump button right there. So, yeah, she sees the guy, she's like, "I'll be done in 2 seconds." And it literally only took 10 to fully finish filling up the car before we left. The cop, the dude already charged me like I was guilty. He's like, "Clocked you at 82. I'm gonna need your ID and your insurance." They didn't even asked me how my damn day was going. It was, for them, 8 in the morning. Not a good morning, how you doing, nothing. It's just clocked in at 82, ID, proof of insurance. I already knew he had the insurance and information all on that back. That car is my car. And I have never met such a disrespectful worker at McDonald's like I did that day. I mean, they were just so rude. My mom was still driving at this point. She was getting us breakfast. Like I said, it was 8 in the morning. I swapped with her because she did some mild driving about midnight. And about 6 in the morning, she wanted to swap with me because I was getting delirious. And she kept driving, and we pull in for some breakfast, get yourself some energy and keep going. What we end up with is, how can I help you? Can I get 2 burgers, 2 chicken sandwiches? Can you please hold on? Literally like that. It's just like, okay. What else? Can I get a soda? 1 minute. My mom was appalled. I've only seen this woman appalled when it comes to stuff in our state, and it's coming from like our workers and stuff like that. It's just like people that you would never expect that from any other like business where you are now the face. And that's the way business etiquette is. You are the face of this business. You are the face they see, the face they talk to, and then you should be the last face they see before they leave. And you treat them like you own the business because they want perfect customer service. This place was terrible. So we didn't even finish our order. We pulled out of the driveway and went over to the Arby's. That guy, he was like, "How you doing this morning?" "We're doing good. Can we get these sandwiches and something to drink?" "Of course." Pull up to the window. He's very nice. He's like, "How you doing this morning?" "Oh, well, we're doing just fine. Thank you very much." He's like, "You all have a lovely rest of your day." Hands us our food, and we pull over and eat and dispose of any trash we have in the car that we were done with. And I'm like, that is the nicest guy we ever met so far through the state. When later that night, we were still in Kansas. It took us about 7 hours. We went through the long middle part of Kansas. So, towards the later hours, my mom, my sister, and myself, I was topping up the gas in my car, and they were going to the bathroom. They walk into the gas station, and my mom and sister asked the gentleman, "Where is the bathroom?" He rolls his eyes and is like, "It's over there." I'm like, had I been in there, I would have slapped the heck out of that man. It's like, are you kidding me? That is not how you talk to any woman. You don't just roll your eyes and just keep going. And my dad taught me that. He's like, you don't roll your eyes. He made sure. My dad taught me well. And he's still teaching me. He makes sure I learn that how to treat a woman of the opposite sex. You treat them with respect. When you're talking to them, period. When you're saying hello, or when you're just walking by, you treat them with the respect they deserve. Okay, I can do that. And so, to just roll your eyes after a general question, where is this? And you just, it's over there. Dude was doing nothing. Dude was literally sitting there, putting back charger plugs for wires and phones. It's like, dude, you're not doing anything important. Show some decency. And so we finally get out of Kansas about, I want to say it was 2 in the morning when we finally got out of Kansas State and into Missouri. And Missouri, oh man, my sister told us stories about what she called rainbow trees. Just like the different colors in fall, just orange, dark orange, yellow, and then it just flourishes all through these different trees, and it's like have you ever taken your computer dial when it's on like a color setting and you got that color spectrum wheel, the different hues and everything, and you just rotate that dial and you see how fast it changes the colors on stuff? It was like that, but just with the yellows and oranges and reds. It was beautiful drive through there. And we get over to my brother-in-law's house, and we pick him up. We get his computer in the car. We get him loaded up, and it was pretty quick. We said hello to his mother, to his father, and we went about our way. We had another long drive just to get back home. And on our way back, we stopped at this place that my sister all she could do is rant and rave about, some place called Qdoba. And I could see why she was ranting and raving. It was delicious. If you like Chipotle, Qdoba has them beat, hands down. That is the best Mexican cuisine joint I've had. For like quick assembly of your burritos and stuff like that. That was delicious. So we're on our way back. We're telling jokes, cracking stories, and I noticed on the phone it says, "Faster route, go this way. Save an hour's 9 minutes." Now, if you ever do end up taking this drive, like say you're in Missouri or any anywhere in the states or countries, and I say countries because you could be anywhere in the world. That's why the greetings is good morning, good evening, and good night. If you're anywhere, be ready for when your services go from full bar to no bar, because it is the antennas and installation of relay antennas and stuff is shoddy. I mean, the phone kept turning off the GPS because the internet would crash, nothing, for about 10 seconds, and then it would have to jump back up and you would have to select the same route and everything. That's why you need a passenger. And as we're doing this, it ends up taking us through a different part of the route that we would normally take. We thought it was the same route out, same route back. The phone decided, we'll save you 14 minutes by doing this. And it took us from the corner of Arizona through Nevada over to California and back down. I'm like, that was not 17 minutes saving. Didn't save me anything, but it was a lot nicer, because in California, when you're going onto the I-40, depending on what back routes you're taking, some of the back routes out here, they are torn up. I mean, pothole after pothole after pothole, just torn up. Well, this route it took us is a well-known tourist attraction route. A lot of open area. It's quick. A lot of up and down with the following of the mountain trails and everything. And it was the main route to Arizona to get to the Colorado River, or to stay in California to still follow the Colorado River. Beautiful, beautiful little spot. And we finally got home about midnight on Friday, which made it like Saturday. But man, it was a heck of a drive. Well, that's my long story. Cut short now. Tell me, what's the if any of you have ever been on a trip, what's the longest trip you've been on? Like, before, my longest trip was I think into Arizona, about a 12-hour drive to our specific location, because where we used to live was like mid-state almost, near LA is where we used to live, and the traffic was bad, so it was about 12 hours getting out and to our destination to visit some cousins and Arizona. But yeah, that was the longest drive, my new longest drive. I do not want to do that again for quite some time. I mean, just like, it's a bit much on a person. One thing I can say though is, before you go on a drive like that, just make sure your car is ready first. I had my tires done, had my oil done. When I got back after everything, I rotated the tires, had them rebalanced and everything. That trip was about 3,400 miles. Yeah, so 3,400 miles. It was a lot. It takes a lot out of you. I mean, it's not just it's not physical exhaustion, it's mental exhaustion is what it is mostly. I mean, I don't know how you truckers do it. I mean, my God, I think I could be wrong on what I've heard schedule based, but schedule could be like 12 hours on, 8 hours off kind of thing. And like I said, I could be wrong on that, but that's for the truckers, and they do some crazy hours, and that's what they do on a daily for work. I just can't imagine it. It's much. It's a lot. I mean, I did a couple hours like that, and I'm bushed. I'm done. I had a nice, comfortable car, and I'm done. I'm tired after something like that. I mean, I wanted to go see my dad on yesterday, yeah, Sunday. I went to go see him with my brother, his fiance, my sisters, and my sister's boyfriend. And we went to see him, spend some time with him, introduce my brother's fiance and everything. And just to get to where my dad lives, it's about an hour or so drive. And I tell you, it's just that drive. I'm used to those drives, like an hour 40, hour 30 to get where I need to in state, and I'm used to those. But after a drive like that, that was tiring. It's just like, I can't believe I'm behind this wheel again. It kind of like that. It's insane. One thing I would like to do, though, is get a little bit more what's the word? Electronic upgrades. One being a faster charger for my cell phone. So when I went out there, my phone could barely keep up with the charge that my car's putting out. It wasn't even charging. It was actually declining because of all the apps I needed to get to my destination. I had my music app and I had my mobile app for travel. And that was it. And it was still dropping in percent. No matter how long I left that thing on, even while it was dead, it was still not charging enough. So I'm going to be looking into a better car charger. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I want to say Macabre. Is that right? Macabre? Could be wrong. I mean, there's like certain ways to pronounce names, and I can guess it sometimes. That's about it. I can guess it. But Macabre is probably about the best guess I got. What's funny is let me switch to one of these other things that show the name I go by. I think it would be maybe in this window. No, it's gonna be in this window. I'm gonna take away my camera for a minute. Right there, you see my names that I go by for my usernames. Those are my usernames that I go by. Now, a lot of people, when they see that on like Destiny, when I played, stuff like that, they'd say Gusho or Geshu or whatever they thought how to pronounce the name. I pronounce it Gyusho. And believe it or not, it's a misspell. It was the fun story on how we came up with that name is it's an accident. That name was not intentional. It was not meant to be a name that I would go by or anything. It was it was about the time when Xbox 360 Gold and Live really started picking up for us, and like I think it was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 started really picking up with the online servers and games. So when I first got Xbox Gold membership, they're like, "Oh, you need to change your name to a name that's not used." Well, I've seen the names that have X's, underscores, numbers. I'm like, well, let's try this name. Guess who? Of course, every variation of that was taken. Um, so I'm thinking of like different names and everything. My sister grabs the other half of the Xbox controller and she starts hitting a couple buttons. I hit a couple buttons. It erases a couple letters and smashes the words together, and it forms Gyusho. And I'm like, I ain't paying to change my name. I'm not paying that. Because I guess you still have to pay if you wanted to change your name. You would have to pay a fee to change your name. I'm like, I ain't paying it. I'm stuck with it. Let's just go with that. So I finally went with it, and that's how I got the name Gyusho. Never changed it. I think it's a nice name for me anyway, because it's custom made, even if it's accidental. No one thinks of the spelling. No one thinks of it like that. I can literally go onto any game I want, any of them, and they're like, give us a name. I'll type in Renegade. Oh, that one's taken. I'll type in my name, last initial, and a number of a year I like. Oh, that one's taken too. And the name, the year I was born, that's taken too. How about this? Your name, your last initial, and a 7-digit number. I'm like, yeah, no. Let's do this. Erase everything. Geusho. You're good. That no one's taking that name. I'm like, yes, victory. And that's because it's an accidental typo. And so that's why I stuck with the name. I still use this name for my PlayStation gamer stuff, my Xbox gamer stuff. I just stuck with it. It's like, I don't need to be too creative anymore. It's comfortable for me. It's a nice name, in my opinion, to just stick with. And I don't plan on changing anytime soon, or if ever. But when I do play games and they're like, oh, give us a username, I throw in like Renegade or Regalia or something like that. I like the R names. Or I'll just use the first letters in Renegade, Ren. And I'll go with it like that. It's nice. It gets me into what I want to play. It's a name I'm comfortable with and stuff. Growing up, the name I loved when I was growing up was Punisher. I loved it. I mean, when the Punisher movie came out when I was a kid, it was a cool movie. It was like the coolest and pretty funny. Like in one of the scenes, it's got a guy chained up, upside down, hanging upside down, and like rope bound, by hands behind his back, and he's chained upside down, and he's got a sailing torch going, and he's like, when you burn human skin at a severe temperature, the brain can't process the amount of pain from the heat, so it thinks it's cold. So he's sitting there with a popsicle poking this guy around his back while he sears a steak on a frying pan right behind him. He's like, you want me to keep going, or are you gonna give me an answer? He's like, I'll tell you. He's like, I ain't talking. Pokes him with the popsicle, sears the steak. And I'm like, that is just hilarious. He didn't hurt this guy at all. He just knocked him unconscious, hung him upside down, and started poking him with a popsicle on his back and frying up a steak. And he gets his answers, knocks him unconscious, and goes about the rest of the movie. It's a really, really good movie. I enjoyed that one. Punisher is probably one of my favorite. I want to say he's Marvel, because in a Marvel mashup that I saw where they introduced Black Widow, Captain America. There he is, the Punisher, and he's going up against he's like going toe to toe with Black Widow, and I almost said Catwoman. Catwoman's DC, and I was like, that's my favorite guy because his backstory is tragic. Don't get me wrong. I love his backstory though. It's like national hero, gone, treated as a traitor, gone merc, or revenge. And when they did the Netflix series of Daredevil and they introduced Punisher, and then they did a Punisher Netflix series, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I'm like, it's about time. I watched it like a kid in a candy store waiting for his favorite TV show to come on. I loved it. I was sitting there just like chomping at the bit for that series. It was a good series. I will say this though. I love um, I love Marvel's live action stuff. Their animated series I don't much care for. Their DC's live action stuff I don't care for. But their animated series, love it. Love their stuff like that. And like, tell me, what is your guys' opinion on that? Do you like the live action DC stuff over their animated stuff, or do you like Marvel's, or do you like it equally as much? 'Cause I mean, I like your guys' opinions. I like your guys' answers. Even if you're asking questions completely off topic, I mean, it helps me to get to know you guys. I mean, you guys are just as important as me, even without the cameras and stuff. You guys are very important. So, anyway, what do you guys like? I'll tell you this though. I don't just watch DC and Marvel and American stuff. I also watch anime. I love anime. Fun fact, if you want to know. Growing up, I had a very hard time with depression and expressing my emotions and stuff like that. So I would watch TV. Well, I ended up getting into anime thanks to this TV channel that would pop up late at night, Toonami. And I got into anime that way, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what's next. And then I watched the series as a kid. I watched it in English as best I could because I wasn't fast at reading. And when I started watching it, I'm like, this is fun. I got happier. Now, as a kid, anime wasn't mainstream like it is now. It was just like little specks here and there. Anime, manga, anime. You'd have to go digging for this stuff. So, of course, me being who I am, and with the people I hung around with as a kid, I ended up treating anime as a guilty pleasure of mine. It was because I'd sit there, I'd laugh, I'd cry, I'd be like, oh, that dick. I won't say that one. I'll just stop at dick. But yeah, that's what it did for me. It was what made me happy. I wouldn't trade that for anything. Those fond memories. I remember one anime that I still love. Code Geass. I watched that. I remember I'd lay up at night on my couch with the family laptop on my lap, burning my legs with the exhaust, just binge watching Code Geass. I loved it. I'd laugh, I'd cry. It's when anime gets you like that it's truly like a good series. It's like, I've gone into anime series or people have recommended me and they're like, this one's a good anime, you gotta really like this. Get into it and stoic the entire time. It's like there was nothing here to like grasp me. I was like, it was interesting. I understand everything, but nothing really took my attention. And because of that, I just fell into the genres I like. For me, I like the. Now I know it's a little overplayed, but I like the isekais. I like those because they're interesting for me. It's like, what world will they go into? Oh, thank you, Macabre. Um, but yeah, I like those. I've been reading some uh, apps lately that have written what's it called? Like manhwas, comics, like Korean or stuff like that. And I read those stories and I read them and again like chomping at the bit. It's just so good. Stories like now I don't condone the way the characters act, of course, like in the stories, but my God, is it just awesome? It's just a mind-boggling poof. I can't believe I never thought of that kind of idea. Like what was it? One that I was reading. So if I think it was called Passguard. It's a manhwa. Manhwa is how it's spelled. Manhwa. And as I'm reading this, in the character is like this huge, heavy set. I mean, like 400 pound, big bulbous of a guy. I mean, if you've seen Fat Bastard, and again, I apologize for the language, but that's his name in the Austin Power series. He's that big. Well, something tragic happens to his friend. His friend, who is a female, she took, I think it was jujitsu for self-defense and her exercise. Something happens to her, and I want you guys to go read this and see if you guys like it. And the guy completely 180s into another person. I think you guys will like that if you kind of like that kind of stuff. I have stories where the main villain, like in another story I'm reading, he's just like the coolest person. He's fought in angels and stuff like that, and he's destroyed and killed many people. Just to find out at the end of it, he's been betrayed by his loyalist followers, and he does a complete 180. He's like, he's like reincarnated or something, and he's like, I know who betrayed me. I have all this knowledge of how they betrayed me and everything before it to go in my favor. I'm gonna use that, try and follow the same path, but I'm gonna be top notch on my approach about it. Those stories, I love those stories where the villain goes good guy, or the good guy goes villain, or just like completely flips their demeanor. Because, I mean, you just don't normally expect that out of the character play, the character arc they're thrown into. Because, you see, like, we all know it. We all know that whole, he's the hero. He's gonna do heroic deeds. He's gonna get the girl. He's gonna fight, and he's gonna be the greatest known person ever. No one ever sees he's the hero. Hero turns around and sets the entire village on fire because he knows later on down the line that village is gonna cause him the most problems. So he burns everyone in. I'm like, holy crap! You sure that's the hero? It's like, it's just astounding to me. I'm like, the whole 180 on a dime, or just like, it's something you don't see all the time. And when you, and that's unfortunately what's coming out a lot is the whole 180. And that's gonna be eventually be the, that's gonna be like the new norm. Like, you see, like, oh, the hero's gonna do this, or the hero's gonna flip if something happens. That's eventually gonna be the new. It's gonna be like that kind of norm, to where it's predictable. That's the word. I keep on having to think of some of the words I'm trying to explain, but it's a lot. I mean, those are the things I really love when it comes to animated series. Um, eh, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the plot, gentlemen and ladies. I do enjoy the plot, but I love when it comes to romance series. Now, let's make it boring for a minute. Bear with me. So, in the romance series, I enjoy romance and comedy, but if it's just straight romance, I like the childhood romance, or the we were we were close as kids, and then something happened, so we split apart, like a move or something in the family just changed. And then they come together and they're completely different people. I love those things. It's like pulls at the heartstrings a bit. It's cute. Like when I play, it's it's the reason why I play certain games the way I do now, like Cloud Strife and Tifa. I am full 100% go for that. Ship it 100% free because I love the whole. They were childhood friends. He made promises to be there and protect her, and now he's strong enough to do so. I love that stuff, and I swear it's just cute to me. I love it. What kind of stuff do you guys like, though? I mean, at any point in time, feel free to cut me off. I feel like I'm rambling. um, just yeah, it's just stuff like that. I love science, love sci-fi series, love of course roms, coms, um, fantasy. I love stories. I can't really do too much thriller and horrors. Bear with me a moment. I'm just gonna mute my mic. Sorry about that. It's just my family telling me food's here. Let me know dinner's just about ready and stuff like that. So I'll probably do a fend for myself tonight or something like that. It's no biggie. No, that's just how I do it sometimes. Unless there's what was I talking about? My brain was like, "There's a knock at the door. Oh, someone gave you an answer. Okay, do." Just what was I talking about? Genres of anime. That's what it was. Um, yeah, that's those are things I like though. Horrors and thrillers, not too much. Mostly because when I would watch the horrors slash thrillers stuff like that, it just doesn't appeal to me. Like you see like a party of characters you're starting to get attached to, and you watch them get picked off one by one, like a Kamiga Kill. That I that just broke my heart. It's like I loved these characters, and then you just pick them off. I'm like, nah, it broke my heart. I'm like, I can't do it. It's not what I'm into. Like I'm into the whole seeing the good guy get what he deserves if he's been playing the system to get an advantage, or seeing the villain get what he deserves and stuff like that. That's what I'm into. I know it's kind of simplistic. I also like seeing the whole. Um, Now, when I said the good guy playing the system, I mean like playing the system in like redo of a healer. Um, what he's doing, I get, it. I understand. His background is his background is whoa. I mean, y'all need to watch that on your own time, but him, I give him a pass. But if it's like what was it? There's this one anime that I watched. The hero was just like, oh, I've been reborn, and I know how to play the system, and he's just doing it to get greedy and rich. Basically, go fall back into his old ways, but he's doing it earlier. Those kinds, I'm like, I'm gonna watch you get shot or something with an arrow. I don't really care for. Um, when it's a villain, like you get it. He's been put in that position as the villain to get what's coming to him. Um, when it's like the villain doing that, I'm like, that's his position. That's how it was written. But when they make it, now how do I explain this? When they make that villain's position like worse than anything you've expected, and they give him either a quick death or a gruesome one, I'm like, you did good. You did good, son. And that's the kind of stuff. I'm like, it's understandable. And I even like some of the ones that are like, you never really. Well, I can't say I like those ones too much, but I like some of the ones where the story's going good. It's going to keep going good because you know it's going to go good for them. There was no major twists and turns for the character, but when they end it off smoothly, yeah, I like it. But if it's something like there was this one anime, I'm still upset that they never came up with another season, even though it was obvious at the end. Elfen Lied. My God, I have a music box because of that. Some of my ringtones are set because of the music in that. It was phenomenal. The anime was amazing. My God, that was an amazing anime. You just won't believe. You have to watch that one for yourselves. If you're, it's gory. It's revenge. Or was it revenge? I can't remember if it's revenge or it's just reliving a life of past. Mm, another anime for my friends who like plot and the etchy stuff is Shuffle. Shuffle, I love it. It's cute, it's romantic, it's funny, and it's got that hint of like cold-hearted revenge in there at a point. I'm like, jeez, this is an anime. Yeah, I like that. Um, One thing that I wish they had done another season of, based solely on how the manga kept going, Rosario Vampire, because if you guys seen some of the mangas on what happens to that main character later on, I was like, oh, why didn't you just follow the book? Just keep going. Go. Go. It's just, oh my God. I mean, if I could afford it, I'd buy one to current. I mean, that is that is a damn good manga. I mean, whoa. I got a small collection of manga, and I mean like really small. It's probably about this wide, and a couple of others stacked on top like that of Magus Bride and stuff, and a couple of single volumes of other books. Um, I have Goblin Slayer, the novel, not the manga, um, and the novel is, my God, I couldn't continue reading it. My brain, unfortunately, it's a very imaginative brain. So with novels like that, it can picture it all. And if you guys are like Berserker fans and stuff like that, good on you. I mean, you guys got a fortitude I don't have. I couldn't read Goblin Slayer. I got like 1/3 into the book, and I'm like, "Damn, stop, buddy! It's going somewhere you're not fans of or anything like that. Let's just stop right there." And that's what I did. I put the book down, and I'm like, I'm gonna go find something else to read. And I did end up getting another book based on what I saw on the app TikTok. There was this book, Monsters Encyclopedia. Now, for all those of you laughing at me, you can, yeah, I give you that. You can laugh at me if you want, because I was an idiot. Alright, so the TikTok video I saw showed a picture of the monster, and they're all monster girls. And it gave you their place, like habitats where they live, their moods, what they eat or what they enjoy, and then it gives you a encyclopedic description of what they're like. And I'm like, cool. I didn't know that. I'm like, that looks awesome. Next thing I know, I opened page 1. They didn't have volume 1. I'm gonna get it because I have volume 2. So, completionist in me. So in volume 1, first page, I'm like, oh, I went bright red. I'm like, close the book. I was in the middle of a mall when I opened this book. I got it at a Barnes and Noble. So I'm in the middle of the mall reading this and looking at this book. I'm like, it's very, and on the back it says light novel. Light novel. I know what a light novel is. This wasn't light. this was not light. And so I'm right there in the middle. I'm like, close the book. I'm like, I need a bag. I walked out of the store without a bag. I'm like, I need one. I need one now. So we went to a couple stores in there, and luckily, one of my family members had a Hot Topic bag, which is, if you've seen those bags, they're black. You can't tell what's in them and stuff. So I'm like, I need that bag. I'm like, threw the book in there, and I read the book. I do, and I read it like I'm reading an encyclopedia and learning. It's very interesting. Granted, if you take all the heavy-duty stuff out of it, it's actually an interesting book to read. That's the kind of stuff I enjoy, though. I mostly do all my reading on my phone because I can get different stories, or I get like some really good recommendations sent to my reading email is what I call it. It's the email I get a lot of my reading from. So it's what I like a lot. What about you guys? You guys got any preferred genres or stuff you like to read? And again, I apologize for those that are coming in and leaving, because normally on Mondays and Wednesdays I stream Ape Escape 3, but I'm just trying to get back into the swing right now. Like I said, I was gone 2 in 2 stream days, and those stream days have mostly been short, like 30 minutes. So, as you can see, I've been, according to my timer, I've been on for like an hour 15. I'm trying to build up a tolerance, again, like I did when I first started off. Yeah, I'd love to know anything about you guys, just like what you enjoy, what parts of my story you want to learn about, or if there's anything new you just want to talk about. I mean, thing is, and a friend of mine told me this, it's hard to keep talking without something to talk back back to if someone's not responding, because it's the equivalent of talking to a wall. Is how it comes off, just you're talking and it feels like no one's hearing you. That's why this chat box and everything, it's for you guys. I think I need to fix it or something. Everything looks a little scrunched up. Yeah, I'll have to fix this up a little bit or something. I'll make this smaller. It doesn't go that much. Wow, I'm really gonna have to work on this. Let's see. I want to make this yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely work with this font and everything, because that looks. It's not just me, is it? It doesn't look like it just smashed into a sandwich, kind of. Let's see if there's anything that'll work with that for a minute. Adjust that there, call that good, and then we'll see how it does. Okay. I adjusted it down smaller. So, because I kind of want you guys to be able to. I know you guys got your chat boxes and everything like that lined up, but I just want to make sure you guys get your name in on this and everything, because it's rewarding even for yourself just to see your name, even as it scrolls by, to have it somewhere. I don't know about all of you, but it is for me. It's a rewarding sense. I don't know why. It just is. Let's see. Yeah, I'll probably adjust this some more as time goes and everything like that. I could probably hit a button on here that'll replay a message or something. I'm not sure if it will though. No, it's not gonna work like that. Ah, wait. Plan B. Plan B is, oh shoot. Plan B. Plan B is this. I go here. Go to here. And I'm gonna type out a little do. I'm gonna hit that. In about 10 seconds, it's gonna pop a message up here or something. There's that, and yeah, there's my thing all the way down there. Let's line it up here, and we'll adjust the chat box. Let's see, we'll increase that to about 23. And we'll type out the word test. And again, it takes about 10 seconds for me on my device to relay it back. Let's see. There's that one. Let's try one more size. Cause let's see. Go that way. There's a lot of stuff here. We'll try that one again. Hit that one. And there. Yeah, I'll probably have to get a better chat box going. Cause this let's see. There's a whole bunch of stuff here I barely even use. But it'll take a moment to get used to and everything. That's just how it is. Oh. Yeah, that was me setting on my phone, or someone just knocked on the door. Um, anyway, I'm just gonna call it here, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Macabre, I hope you enjoyed coming in onto this chat and learning a few new things, even though it wasn't sorry, brain's going flat again. Yeah, even though it wasn't extremely entertaining or very entertaining much. So, hope you all have a good morning, a good evening, and good night worldwide, and you have a great rest of your nights, days, and evenings. Take care, everyone. Hope to see you on the next stream.